You gotta keep on breathing if you wanna make sense of it all. We will not fall.
Okay, so this is Yin for the heart chakra and the upper body. So we'll be focusing on the upper back, chest, a little bit into the shoulders. And having a bolster and 2 blocks is quite handy. We're going to start in a supported fish. So I've already laid up my blocks, but you can choose the comfortable version, which is with a bolster and maybe a blanket or a block supporting the head. So let's find our way into the most comfortable supported fish that you like. I've actually turned my block horizontal rather than vertical across the back of the shoulder blades. So I quite like to open up my shoulder blades a little bit more. And then make sure that you have supported the back of the head, the back of the neck. Let the shoulders and the chest open here, taking the arms down by the side of you, palms are gently face up. And you can, of course, keep the legs nice and long and relaxed, making sure that the buttocks are just softening out down onto the mat there. And again, if you need to, wiggle around, make sure the corners of your blocks or places in the bolster aren't uncomfortable. Or you might like to take a butterfly legs, so the soles of the feet come together and the knees just gently drop out to the side. And so as you slowly breathe out, giving all of your weight into your prop, letting the prop hold and support you. Maybe you keep a soft gaze, maybe you close the eyes, letting the facial expression soften and relax. And as you start to find the steadiness of your breathing rhythm, effortless flow in to an effortless flow out, start to let go of your day. Let go of any thoughts that may be pulling you away. Bring yourself into this present moment on the mat, into the body, by feeling sensations as you are here. And using that breath to anchor you into this space. If the mind wanders, be aware it's wandered, give it its moment, and then bring yourself back to that felt experience of the physical body and the breath in harmony. And when you're focusing on your breathing here, take the focus to your upper body. Feel the expansiveness of that inhale breath, really filling the lungs, and the rib cage moves outwards, upwards, and downwards. And the exhale softens, lets go, and releases tightness and tension. And as you focus on the upper body, bring your attention into the center of your chest, area of the sternum, the breastbone. And visualize this green, bright emerald green ball of energy starting to gain size. And it starts to fill the front of your body with each breath. And it starts to fill the back of your body. And it starts to fill the sides of the body. Till eventually that green ball of energy is so big that it cannot be contained any longer and has to, go out of the torso, out of the body. Just visualize that green ball of energy surrounding you. Visualizing emerald green. Then eventually that big ball of emerald green light and energy is so big. It surrounds you, it surrounds your room, it surrounds your whole home, and it extends even further. And let go of that visualization. Gently breathe in and sigh out your breath. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Sigh it out. Just one more. Breathe in. And exhale, sigh it out, let go. Wiggle the fingers, bring some movement back into the hands, into the wrists, into the elbows. Stretch the arms out to the side, take the hands down to the thighs if you have butterfly legs. Bring the soles of the feet wide, and if your legs were long, just bring those knees back a little bit, placing the soles down, knees dropping towards one another. So take a moment to bring the elbows underneath the shoulders, press up the chest, looking along the body towards the knees, and then gently you can move yourself off of your props and just lie down all the way onto your back. Spread the feet as wide as your mat. Spread the shoulder blades. Let the back of the skull soften down and take the arms as wide as you can here. And this feeling of a star pose. So you're taking up all of the space that you have available. Just notice what it feels like to come off of those props, blocks or bolsters. And then breathing in, lifting the knees in towards the chest. Nice big exhale, squeeze the thighs in. Feel the tailbone lengthening, pelvis spreading across the mat. You can just give yourself a little bit of a massage here as you mobilize those knees left and right. And then let's come over onto our side. Take your time to press yourself up. I'm going to go into a wide leg child's pose from here. So if you wish to, you can take your child's pose over your bolster. You might need to use the block underneath the head, whatever does feel the the most comfortable, we're going to stay and hold in our child's pose for a number of minutes. So wide leg, and if the knees are giving you a bit of problem, you can support those with a blanket or a rolled up towel. And just start to slide the hands forward if that feels good. Again, the hands do not have to come out in front of you. They can be underneath the head. Again, that steadiness and evenness of your breath. So really giving in now to the front body into the mat. Melting through the shoulders, the armpits, the chest. Letting the belly relax. Letting the legs, knees, ankles, and the hips soften. And just being aware here if you are holding any tension anywhere. One of the most challenging factors in holding a posture for a number of minutes is to keep the focus of the present mind. And if you notice the mind wandering into other places, other thoughts, getting distracted, bring it back to your breath, bring it back to the experience, the sensations through the body, the physical presence. We're here for just a few more breaths. Maybe you've met your edge and you're holding your edge there. Maybe you're surrendering into the challenge. And take that breath in. That nice breath out, preparing yourself to move, bringing the hands back closer towards the body, and then just gently pressing yourself up, releasing the pressure away from the hips and the knees, bringing yourself into a tabletop. So just notice what it feels like to recover out of that wide leg child's pose. Pressing hands away from the mat, broadening across the back, Cross the shoulders. And then find a cat and cow here. So we've already just done a flexion and a back bend or a back extension. So go easy through these movements of cat and cow. Starting to feel the release through each and every vertebra of the spine. Exhaling on your cat. Inhaling on your cow. And then last time, we just come back through the child's pose, bringing the hands back towards the knees and take it slowly to roll up through the spine. And just come to the back of your mat, flip the palms up and just sit normally, letting the shoulders relax away from the ears, sitting nice and tall and just, again, feeling, we've gone through that back extension of supported fish, very passive. And then again, very much a surrendering posture into our forward folds or the child's pose. Now we're going to go into melting heart pose, which might be a little bit more active. We are going to try this with the blocks. So having the blocks in front of you, the hips stay nice and high, you're on your knees, but we're going to try this with our elbows down on the blocks. So maybe they come a little bit closer, and then the hands come back behind the head. So you might need to find out where the blocks need to position so that you can get your head kind of in between the blocks. So it's a little bit more active. We're only here for 2 minutes. So thinking about the position of the body, of the legs. Again, this is a little bit more active than our usual heart pose. We've lifted our body up. We're actively pressing through the tops of the feet and the shins, lifting up the abdominals. If this becomes incredibly intense and challenging for you, please do release the arms down and just go into a melting heart pose without the blocks. As I say, just here for 2 minutes, so we've already done one. Slow and steady breaths. And just take that breath in. Nice long, slow breath out, releasing the hands forward and off of the blocks by the side of you, and just come back up into your tabletop. And let's move those blocks out of the way. Let's see how we feel there. So just bring yourself back again to kneeling and just release the shoulders so you can kind of cave in through the chest. And then open the chest and give yourself some circles. Oh, did that one feel quite deep? I noticed it was particularly deep. Let's come all the way down into prone. So down onto our bellies. Bring the head on top of the backs of your hands and bring the big toes to touch there. Just soften out through the belly, through the lower back, and through the buttocks. Notice if you're clenching into the buttocks there. And then just widen the feet to the outer edges of your mat, making sure that the all 10 toes are pressing down into the mat. Sweep the arms back behind you, interlace the fingers or hold onto the wrists, whichever is easiest, and just gently lift up into a little locust stretch, pressing the knuckles towards the heels. So you're drawing the shoulder blades together. You might only come off just a couple of inches. That's okay. Hold and breathe wherever you are. Keep pressing those knuckles back towards the heels, pulling the shoulder blades together. And then nice and slowly we lower down onto the cheek, and the hands stay by the hips and soften everything out once more. It's always important to allow the recovery, the response, the rebound from a posture. And bringing the hands forward into your Sphinx pose. Finding Sphinx, again, all 10 toes touching the mat. The heels don't roll in towards one another. You're pressing the mat away from you, so you're lifting up through the chest, spreading the fingertips, pressing down through the forearms and the elbows. Crown of the head reaches away from you rather than down, so the neck stays long in line with the spine. And we are dropping through our pelvis and our hips here, dropping lower back. Reminding yourself that Yin Yoga is the yoga for connective tissue, the fascia, the joints of the body. So go deeper than the larger muscle groups. Go inwards to really feel what you're actively doing in these postures for yourself. Keep striving to find your own edge. Taking a breath in. And as you breathe out, widen the elbows, roll the chest down, head comes to the back of the hands, big toes touch. Relax everything in the upper body here. And then sway the hips gently from side to side, giving your lower back a release. And the hands come underneath the shoulders. You're going to gently press yourself back through tabletop. Back through child's pose. And bringing the hands back to the knees, to the thighs, rolling up to kneeling. Staying at the back of the mat, just flipping the palms over. Again, just finding this recovery point. Letting the shoulders drop away from the ears, lengthening crown to the sky. And let's come off of the knees, swinging the legs around in front of you. You can choose cross-legged if you prefer, or butterfly. And if you would like, you can sit on top of a bolster. You can sit against something if you prefer. We're going to come into some seated twists. So if you are having your cross-legged or butterfly pose, just try and relax the knees out to the side. Sit nice and tall on the sit bones. And feel the sides of the body. Last week we worked with the sides of the body, so we're not collapsing here and letting the shoulders hunch forward. We're nice and tall in the spine, preparing for our spinal twist around to the right hand side. Take one hand behind you and the other hand gently rests upon the front knee. So opening the chest out to the side. And we're trying to simply square off the chest and the shoulders. Maybe you close the eyes. So don't go too far in the twist too soon. We're here for a number of minutes in the seated twist, so make sure it's comfortable. Allowing your inhale breath to lengthen you. Allowing your exhale breath to deepen the rotation when it feels good. And being aware of every single part of the spine that might be involved in the rotation here. And that comes from the base of the skull. So the neck, how far is the neck twisting? Then through the thoracic spine, in the upper and the middle back. And then how much in rotation in the lower lumbar section. Start to feel all parts of the spine moving as one. For just a couple more breaths, breathing in, lengthening, breathing out, deepening the rotation if it feels good to do so. And then breathe in, bring yourself back into center. Just unravel the legs, give them a stretch out in front of you. Remember which leg you had in front. Good. And here, just release the spine a little bit with some rib cage movements. So you can move the rib cage side, front, side, and back, and then circle the other way. Good. And let's bring the other leg in front. Always feels a bit weird Well, for me anyway. And maybe you had butterfly, which is good too. So again, starting to take that twist, again, not going too deep too soon. So hand goes behind you and one hand rests on the knee, giving you a little bit of leverage. So maybe you're closing the eyes, maybe you're really drawing into this seated spinal twist here. We're here for 3 minutes. Focusing only on the physical and your breath. What sensations come up? And just start to be aware and to notice any differences from the other side. Maybe one side feels more challenging. Maybe one side feels freer. And being aware of all sections of the spine in the rotation, from the base of the skull, the neck, the thoracic, through the upper and the middle back, and into the lower back, into the lumbar section. Feeling them all moving as one. Taking that breath in and exhaling, and then bringing yourself back into center. Take a pause as you return, extending the legs out in front of you, releasing into the toes, the ankles, the knees, and the hips. And then again, just release through the rib cage and the spine, through those little Sufi circles. So trying to move the rib cage independently. So just bring the hands back behind you and just open the chest up here. So just a little lift into the lower back. Letting the shoulders rest away from the ears. They're not crunched up too much. Lift again into the sternum. And then bring yourself center and bring the soles of the feet together into butterfly this time. So I would recommend taking the feet just a little bit further away from the body. They don't have to be too close in towards you. We're going to take a butterfly fold here. And you might want to rest the head on blocks or a bolster. So your bolster can rest on your feet, and then your head rests really nice and comfortably. And that's really good. I'm actually probably going to stay there myself. just supporting the head and the neck in that fold. So yin doesn't have to be taxing, but we do want to feel something. It's not a restorative practice for a reason. So whilst you're in this seated fold, start to relax the head, let the weight of the head be guided into your prop, or if you're just without any props at all, let the head become heavy towards the floor. Relax the face, the jaw, the teeth, the neck. Making sure the shoulders haven't cracked up towards the ears, the shoulder blades are relaxed. And we're curling the spine in the upper and the middle sections, with the navel gently pulling back to the lower spine. Being aware here of any tension into the lower body, into the glutes, into the hips. Each exhale and lets you go deeper into this release, giving in to the weight of the body. And here for just a few more breaths. Breath in, nice long slow breath out, and start to use the hands to press you back up, pulling navel to spine as you gently roll up, moving the block or the bolsters away from you. Come all the way back up to seated, letting the shoulders stack back above the hips. And then bring the head up and take the hands to the knees, lifting them together. Give them a big squeeze, so you can squeeze the outside of your knees. And then whilst the legs are out there in front of you, hands come back behind you, gentle lift through that sternum once more. Not too deep because we've just come out of a deep forward bend, so you don't have to do an absolute back bend here. It's just a recovery. Nice. And then let's go into, you can choose to go sideways on if you like, but it's half dragonflies. So right leg extends, and if you have a block or a bolster, have one of those on the inside of your extended leg. The other block you might want to sit on, so you can sit on a block and have one on the inside. That's it, yeah. And that foot can be anywhere on the leg. It can be on the calf, it can be on the knee, or on the inside of the thigh. That's it. Okay, we're going into lateral stretches here. So relaxing through the lower body, we start to turn the chest, bring the elbow down onto the block. And if you like, this top arm then comes over the head and rests on the head there. So you don't have to hold the head up. So we're going towards the extended leg. So stretch, that's it, stretching towards the extended leg, away from the bent knee. So we're going to open up through that left rib cage. Yeah. And if it's too much with the arm, you don't have to use the arm. You can have the hand down on the top of the thigh. That's it. Couple of options. The posture becomes deeper when you take away the block, and maybe that elbow comes down onto the mat. So I'm not going to go there, but I am going to take my block down to its lowest level. And changing the gaze, looking underneath that left arm. That's it. So you can always use a bolster or a block underneath that knee if you need. That's it. So you don't have to hold that knee up. That's it. Yeah. Good. So a little bit more challenging here. You know, we've got a lot going on in the posture. We've got this extended leg. We've got the bent leg into the hip, the knee, and the ankle. And then we've got a side stretch going on as well. So the spine stays nice and long, and you're just rolling and opening that left side of the rib cage. Navel pulls in gently. Body weight lets your upper body drop down towards the block and the extended leg. Almost there. Release the top hand first of all. Then you can gently bring yourself back up to stack the shoulders above the hips. Whew. Take a moment to recover. If you want a nice little release out of that one, you can roll forward onto the knee, lifting up the other arm, and just release there. That's it. And then come down and change legs. I actually forgot how deep that stretch was. So So again, changing sides. So popping the block on the inside leg. That's it. Good. Supporting the knee with the bolster. Good. And start to turn the chest to face the bent knee. And then reaching the arm down on the inside. And again, you can stay there. You don't have to introduce that hand above you. 3 minutes. Close the eyes, enjoy the stretch, enjoy the release, enjoy the challenge. This is our last seated posture before we come down onto our back. And it's important to get all of the functional mobility through the spine that we've been doing. So the rotations, the lateral stretches, the forward folds, and the back bends. Just going to let the head, the neck, the body become heavy towards the extended leg. Almost there. A few more breaths. Breathe deep. Remember, filling the expansion of the whole of your lungs into the rib cage, front, back, and sides. Just as we started off our practice with those deep rib cage breaths. And release the hand on the head first of all. Use the other hand to press the body up to seated. Take a moment to feel more aligned, coming out of that lateral stretch. And just release the legs, bring them in front of you. And just circle the shoulders, release into the neck if you need. And then windscreen wiper, knees right and left. Good. So now we make our way onto our backs. So coming down, nice and steady, and slowly draw the knees in towards the chest. And just feel the back flattening out underneath you, spreading out the pelvis, spreading out the waists, spreading out the rib cage and the shoulders, and making sure that the neck is long and the back of the head is nicely down on a block or on the mat. Squeeze the knees in towards the belly and the chest, lengthening the tailbone. And then you can gently open out through the hips. So you'll see that we haven't done too much lower body stuff today. It's mostly been all spinal, opening up through the rib cage into the upper and the middle back and the chest and shoulders. So your choice here is to leave the feet in a constructive rest pose, either dropping the knees together, or you can take your butterfly legs and the arms are coming back into cactus. So spread the shoulder blades out away from one another and then The backs of the hands come down with a bend into the elbow. So you can stay in constructive rest legs with cactus arms. Try and soften across the chest. Try not to let those shoulders pinch in towards one another underneath you. It's a 90-degree bend at the elbow. So keep releasing through the chest into the upper back and spreading the shoulder blades away from one another here. Stretching open through the armpits. Breathing in, squeeze the elbows, the forearms and the palms together above your face. Keeping the elbows lifted above the chin. Keep the wrists nice and high. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Those shoulder blades are pulling apart. Squeeze the elbows together if you can. That's it. Nice. Keeping the wrists nice and high. And then gently release the arms. And if you have butterfly, lift the legs together and just take constructive rest. Hands rest down onto the hips or the belly or by the side of the body. So you can soften out through the chest and the shoulders here after that cactus arms and bringing them into namaste. So let's find our spinal twist on the mat. So let's bring the feet together, lift the hips over to the left side of your mat. Lift the hips up and over, and then both knees come over together. Now, if you like, this is an opportunity to put a block or a bolster underneath those knees. So making sure that the block doesn't dig in anywhere. So knees are stacked on top of one another. And then again, you can choose arms out to the side or maybe cactus. I'm going to go just straight out in a T shape. So wrists in line with shoulders. And just allow both knees to soften on top of one another. So we're really starting to feel the left chest, left armpit, left shoulder opening up. We're starting to feel the left rib cage, the left side of the waist, the left hip, the left outer thigh. And continuing to drop the weight through both knees. being aware of your focus. Where is your mind? Be aware of your breathing rhythm. Still trying to find that expansiveness of the ribcage breaths, front, back, and sides. And then breathe in and out. Prepare to move. Bring the legs back up into the center. Realign the spine and the hips. Take that constructive rest. Soften out through the spine here. Taking your block or your bolster over to the other side. Heel toe the feet into parallel. Lift the hips up and over to the right side of your mat this time. And then let those knees drop over to the left, supporting them if you need to. Trying to keep the ankles and the knees stacked on top of one another. And then opening up the chest and the arms, either cactus or your T shape. So as we go into the other side, just being aware now of your right side stretches, trying to relax through right chest, right shoulder, right armpit, right rib cage, right waist, right hip, right outer thigh. Giving in to the release and the weight of those legs over to the left. And then taking that breath in, that breath out to prepare. The arms back by the side of the body, lifting the legs back into center, realigning hips and spine, and take your constructive rest once more. Soles of the feet wide, knees drop in together, hands by the side or on the body. And then just heel toe the feet back into the center of the mat. Slide the legs along the mat. Keep the feet together if you can. Lift the arms up above the head and just simply shuffle the shoulders over to the right side. So keep the hips and the pelvis where they are. So you're just moving the shoulders, keeping the legs long. We're just coming into a nice little side stretch here. Again, very passive side stretch, not a twist. It's not quite banana asana because we're not moving the legs. And then shuffle those shoulders back through the center, over to the left, just simply moving from the waist, seeing how far you can get over without moving the legs. Legs stay where they are, straight down the center of the mat. You're just moving your waist and upper body. It's a half banana. Ardha Banana Asana. Trying to drop the weight into that right side of the hip. And then slowly shuffle everything back. Release the hands by the side of you. Release the legs. Take a moment to just wiggle everything out. Shaking toes, ankles, calves, legs, hips, waist, rib cage, and shoulders. Big, big stretch. Lift the arms up above the head. Big, big stretch. Draw the knees in, roll and massage out. And let us prepare for our final relaxation in Shavasana. So making sure that you're warm, because we did quite a few back bends and forward folds today. It might be nice to use your bolster underneath the knees, using eye pillows if you've got them, or turning lights off. Maybe you don't want to get up and turn the light off. Just want to lie back. But it is important to make yourself warm. So covering over the toes and the body. Coming into your relaxation now, just making sure that all of the back body is spread out underneath you. So the shoulder blades aren't pinching in towards one another. They're lifted up and spread away from one another. The center of the spine is all the way down the mat. The rib cage is spreading out. The waists are spreading out. The pelvis and the buttocks are relaxed and soft. And the legs start to become heavier. Toes and ankles relaxed. The arms become heavier. And the fingers just gently curl up away from the mat. And try to find stillness in mind, stillness in body. Bringing your focus back into the center of your chest. Breathing deep into the heart, into the lungs, into the organs, beneath the diaphragm. And you feel the expansiveness of your breath with minimal movement. And you let yourself settle in. And I will let you know when it's time to come back around. Begin to take a few deeper breaths as you bring your awareness back into your surroundings, back onto your mat, and back into the body. Wiggling fingers, wiggling toes, moving into the wrists and the ankles. Taking your time to stretch, draw knees in, roll, massage out, whatever you need. And just returning up to a comfortable seat when you're ready. Hands come into the heart center, Anjali Mudra, pressing all fingers and the heels and the palms of the hands together. Just press the thumbs into the sternum there, into the breastbone, the area where we have been focusing on our energy today, but also our physical practice to alleviate tightness, tension in the upper body, particularly in the shoulders, the chest, and the upper and middle back. And always thank yourself for your presence here today. Thank you to your body and to your breath. And I thank you. Namaste.